Hi guys, John Baker here. Before we get to our feature presentation, I'd like to show you a little something that happened while I was playing. Now, this is a complete pug game. Don't know any of these players. It's going to be an air rush. Two of these guys have air decks, which is really bizarre. Airborne decks are usually pretty terrible. You can use one pretty effectively, but multiple are pretty bad. So keep in mind, we know they have two air decks. It's in our head. We're aware of this. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to rush with LSTR 40s. I'm going to land them early, and I'm going to kill all sorts of people. And I'm also going to eventually bring some anti-air helicopters to help with that as well. And this guy's bringing some anti-air helicopters and all that sort of stuff. And what is this? What is this? Harbinger brings a Smirch. That's weird. That is really wonky. He's aware that they're going to air rush us, and he's bringing a Smirch. Smirches are against ground units. Am I right or am I right? And so as we marshal along, we'll get into the oddity. Now this map is pretty lax. Usually these 2 points here are lightly defended because it's very hard to get across these bridges, whereas this place Delta is heavily sieged. And from time to time, some forces might be shifted over to these areas, just small itty-bitty ones, but not too many. But for the most part, these ones never change hand, nor do these ones. So it's all about the Delta formation in the middle. And this Smirch is going to play a very, very important role. Now, worth noting, I did in fact get my W3W Sokols, and we're going to have a lot of anti-helicopter action here. Alright. Oh my god, the game is going. Here comes the airborne decks. So we'll slow it right back down, and these people aren't playing crazy. They have some airborne units going to try and go over this way for an airborne flank. I have my MiG-29 coming out, but oh no, it's double RAF. That is so much air power with the Eurocorps deck. And here comes our little battle. MiG-29 gets one shot off on a RAF. The air battle begins. W6 and Mi-24s begin firing on targets, killing as they can. Here we go. All the anti-helicopter planes getting eliminated left and right. And what is happening here? All these planes are vanishing. Why is that? It's because the Smirch is actually killing them all. That is really wonky and weird. So the Smirch kill off about 50% of this force. He's left with basically nothing here. 6 little light riflemen. He has a flanking position still over here, but he's using them all to land these SAS in position. And now they're in a really crappy position because this was a giant majority of their forces gone. The Smirch actually kills them. And that Smirch, in the end, does about 500 points worth of damage. So just to give you an idea of the kind of damage that's going to go to the Harbinger camera for the... So, as we can kind of plainly see here, the BM-30 Smirch kills off 2 Black Hawks, an anti-air helicopter, 2 Hueys, Lod Red-Eye, Assault Engineer, and a Huey. And he also had these other 2 helicopters here, which also had a significant high kill count. To the end of this, Harbinger was able to get 530 of the kills, of our total 735. So yes, significant play happened there. Anyway, I just thought I'd share this really wonky little play opener of this Smirch, and yeah, on to our feature presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, on to the final event. This is Wargame Red Dragon. This is a match that is not from a tournament at all, in fact. So recently, the Reddit tournament has effectively been cancelled, and the Wargame Forum tournament, I don't believe it actually had a proper name, is rounding down. They are slowing down quite a bit. Little over, say, 65% of the matches have been played for it. And usually when that happens, you get a clear sense of who's already won. And that's kind of happened. So there's very little incentive for other people to continue playing. So if anyone plays their matches at all, it'll be very, very rare, difficult. the decision has been made that any unplayed matches will result in a loss for whichever side is not making an attempt to make it work. So, in the meantime, here is a match featuring 6 players. A few of them I know who they are, other ones not so much, but this is what we have to work with this week. So, for our blue side, we have Xerxes, K, CCCP, and that is all. And on our red side, we have Young Leons, Iron Duck, and Cab. And I said I do know some of these people. I have played against Xerxes, I have played against K, I have played against Cab, and I believe I've played against Iron Duck. I don't really know who Young Leons and CCCP are, but this should be fine. So, back to going somewhere. We have a pretty broad map with low point values. So this could make for an astoundingly long played game here. There's also a lack of real strategic points on this map. Obviously there's fighting for the middle towns here, but you can actually just bypass the towns by controlling this roadway here. So the towns are quite good still, because say if I can get aggressively from my angle, moving in from blue side into here, if I can get someone in here, I can stop reinforcements coming this way very easily. Also, reinforcements going this way and through these mountain peaks. And there's all little wonky things, like there's towns in these mountains that you can just stop the interwoven of forces. But there is 2 reinforcement points. Interestingly enough, we have an air and a land here, and we also have a land over here. Now, in terms of viability, it means that this route here, Bravo into Delta, will be our most important route. It's the air route, and so we're probably going to see eventually a decent amount of man pads. That's a man portable air dispersal system, infantry AA being deployed around this area. That's pretty common. In the meantime, our match has in fact begun. And looks like we're going to see a 3 flanking battle. Looks like no one is going to go crazy and do a double flank on one. And we have the Akula being rushed on the north here, which I said, the most important one. His counterpart, the Lynx 3, is here. And is this double Akula? It is. No, it's not. It's actually a very powerful KA-52 and Akula combo. And with double Lynxes here, oh, they're sneaking by so sneakily. He could have got a decent amount of damage here. Instead, he's going to fly overhead. And there's a Biryusa here. This could be a big problem here for K, as... will he get the Biryusa in time? Targets down the Ural, and looks like he might actually get the command as well. No. Biryusa doesn't have his gun on. I'm so confused here. SES are all getting cleaned up by this helicopter flank here, and this is might cause this position to go to red. Lynx are trying to chase down these units. Now keep in mind, one of these guys does have infrareds, but he's burned through all of them. Looks like one squad of Highlanders will survive this. And now here's a Biryusa in that strategic position. Obviously, one spotted forward, one goes down. This is actually getting really scary. The Lynx is just going to town. There is a Z9A TY90 coming in here. It's an anti-air helicopter. And keep in mind, 90 pointer. It's not that cheap at all. But, oh, flying overhead, the Vickers, keep in mind he has no ground-based weapons at all. In exchange, he gets to go very fast and has super high range for what he's doing. And Lynx 3 cleaning up shop right now. In fact, Blue very successful in making a big push here. In the middle location, basically nothing happening. It's kind of what we expected. He has to secure these towns, make sure there's no interwoven transit happening here. And on this flank, an attempt at being aggressive here, but basically hit the cutthroat point here, where he can put a command in here somewhere, and he can feel very secure. These Canadian Airborne can still move up and knock down any vehicle coming through here to try and isolate this town. So this looks like it'll be kind of a stalemate for just a little bit. Oh my god, the D comes in, the D, and you're going to do a little bit of the D damage, and will in fact kill off some infantry, as Canadian Airborne are in fact going to unload on somebody here. Made the fire position command was used and moves all the way up, of course. Doesn't have quite the numbers. You might be able to get this LSTR 40, which would be a very huge kill, because those infantry units are hot. That means very good. And he's actually going to bring in some napalm here, which is very smart. With the napalm, it's very important to actually turn off your anti tank weapon, that's D10T, which is sitting there, and rely entirely on your napalm by using the fire position command. And if you do that, you hit maximum range. But these Canadian Airborne, their range is just actually so good that this TF-55 will be completely useless to them. And in fact, double ADATs here. Dear Lord, Xerxes, dear Lord. With these vehicles, they're going to soak up a lot of rockets, it looks like, but not a lot of kills. Will that go down? The V-150 is amphibious. And a little bit of insult, assault, not insult, assault here by a Panzergrenadier. But keep in mind, there are some entrenched units here. There are some tanks moving up here. And like I said, you can actually bypass a lot of these towns with tanks. And it's actually very, very common to do. And very clever, actually. But the tanks are all being used in very strategic positions. Trying to move up slowly. And maybe pick off some of these other enemy tanks. And we'll get some of these vehicle kills. Not enough to get rid of the infantry, but oh my god, a little bit too close. Gets one rocket off. Will he get a second one? Yes, but it missed. And these tanks might be able to actually eradicate these forces here. They could actually just move all the way up, of course, until the command, but they're not probably thinking that far ahead. One problem with moving too far forward is that you risk getting locked out by bombs, and that's the flak Pizjaparder over here. Now it looks like things have pretty well normalized on this flank. There's still some Redfor forces here in this base that need to be cleared out, and once he clears them out, he'll be able to place a command here. It's actually a decent number too. That's 4 units, which represent roughly around 40 units. And he only has 40 Canadian rifles, which are not going to be particularly effective. He's going to need to drop a lot of bombs to make this work out. Back to our middle conflict here. Looks like these Luzandus are going to be a little bit of trouble. Our Spiz Lukes is going to rush ahead and actually going to go ahead and kill this command off. So big steal here for CCCP as he's able to get, which was basically another 100-point kill. And he's going to actually kill another an anti-air unit. Here comes the SC-25, and this was talking about being risky with your tanks. You can't be risky with your tanks, because if you're risky with your tanks, this happens, and boom, dead. But he used a different unit. And here's the Flak Piz going to get picked off by the K-52. The K-52 has 2 anti-radar rockets, or missiles, that it can use. And will, in fact, be using 1-shot miss. Second shot is actually a miss. Wow! And this is going to put him in a terrible position as he has been wiping out that unit very easily. A THMI-8T, which is an infantry carrier, will also go down. This Black Panzer already paying itself off. Having been able to instigate the town against a low power infantry, they are now clearing it the middle. This is very, very scary for our Redfor players who were looking very good with their domination here. But the push in the middle is looking very, very solid for them right now. Recce forces moving in a little bit too close. They only have 2 health points. If they got the sniper rifles turned up, they're going to go die, and they're going to instantly die, and he's running away. Wow. He gets away from that. I am surprised. But yes, he did in fact find the locations of those infantry, and we see an infantry conga line moving into a reinforced middle. Now, like I said, if you can get an infantry in one of these places, you can remove the infantry conga line. And a lot of times, a lot of players will take just one infantry squad, move them into here, and take this out. Just to put that, but preemptively we have Youngalian, who has taken that place already. This is still basically the most stable line possible. He's actually brought in some VLKV T815, a supply truck to actually reinforce his LCR-10, which I love, by the way. I think it's a great choice. And we have some mortars just firing in the distance. Focusing more on this middle area here, trying to pick off some of these tanks, it appears, with mortars. Might be able to do it if he doesn't pay enough attention to it. And with the number of vehicles and tanks here, these infantry are having a very, very hard time getting a one-up on these Panzergrenadiers. And might actually have to pull them back and try and reinforce them. Currently, they are at, what is that, 3 veterancy? That is not a bad veterancy number, actually. To lose them, it's pretty bad. Panzergrenadiers are going to charge across the field, feeling very, very comfortable with this move. On the other flank over here, we're seeing that the infantry are finally moving in. Recce are trying to get into a position where they can help snipe without dying, which is challenging and dead. Yeah, I kind of suspected that would happen. Recce are very powerful. They're extremely good But this particular landscape doesn't favor them very well because of the mountains. Mountains provide curves that can become problematic, and the micro here by Bluefor is actually very, very good. Trying not to lose too many units. Going to pull back Canadian rifles and just have these two fire simultaneously, not allowing this group here getting fired. And here comes some Mi-8Ts. What do we have here to defend against this? Apparently Axelov is going to be our defending unit under the Vickers, but yeah, those are not going to do so hot. But he is using a lot of rockets up, burning it on what I would say is the wrong units. He should be using them on the infantry, of course. And realizing his mistake, he will in fact go in for that. And only has 8 rockets left, so won't be able to get either of these, I don't think. He's just trying to get a position around the mountain. Here comes the bombs. There comes the bombs. There's 2 Prizik Igloo squads here. Did not get a single kill. Gornoshoki were microed effectively just in time. And now we're seeing even more infantry coming in here. There comes a bomb. Let's see if the micro is good. Keep in mind, oh my god, he did not use the proper fire position command, and now he's going to fly all the way around into the Flak Panzer A1, and he is escaping, realizing his mistake. Newer players to the game, this is something you can do. When you have your plane, I use the T key. You can bind whatever key you want to fire position. I use the T key, so I hit T and position. Boom, fire position. I don't right click on the guy I want to kill. That's stupid. If you lose vision, that happens. So you have to use the fire position command. You use that for bombers, artillery, and if you know where somebody is and you want to get your tanks to kill them, you do that as well. They're both very good actually, and very, very good for Bluefor bombers here, decimating the skies. Decimating the skies, and actually able to get rid of one of these Flak Panzer Jeopards, and he will have to move these eventually, I guess. But this positioning here now is exceptionally good. It means that this junction here, joining the 2 points, will belong to him. So here's the excellent news for Bluefor, the bad news for Redfor. The good news for Bluefor is that they're now in a position to move across this bridge and flank in here. They can get rid of these artillery, this vehicle, and they can stop the reinforcement line from here, effectively encircling this position here to nothing, right? They have to put infantry here, It's always kind of bad to go into the enemy's spawn point, because that's where they spawn from. They can just get whatever counters they want to beat you. But yeah, very, very close. And here comes the SC-25. He's going to try and knife off another one of these tanks. Goes in, gets one shot off, 2, gets the kill. Gun run's good. None of the Flak Panzers are firing. Gets away. Perfect kill there on the Leopard. And so, not quite yet in the position to push. But he has done significant damage to the enemy. As, you can see CCCD of 1,320 kills off one player. And now in this base here, we see the Canadian Rifles are once again going to go to do battle. And he's actually been doing very good about keeping these Canadian Rifles alive. He's not using this 5-point squad here to go for a kill. He's using these squads and these squads. It'd be very good for him to pull back this squad here now because it's getting a little bit low on health. And here comes another squad. And, whoa, he's actually going to go ahead and try and charge in. And, oh, God, the bombs hit. That looked like a B5 explosion. Getting both infantry units. And now these Canadian Rifles are not quite in the great position they were in once to do the amount of damage they were doing before. Will we see a bomber reinforcement? Hard to say. Here comes an SU-22M4. Now, the Flak Panzers can be very easily microed against this. But it looks like he's not even actually going to try. He's just going to go and kill it. And no real anti-air units in this area, so he can actually engage pretty well every bomber right now. And we have a call by Iron Duck says, attack this Flak Panzer. It is an asshole Flak Panzer. And they're sneaky naval forces here. If you're wondering what he did here, he snuck them along here, along this edge, to get past this Monostrelki and around things. And he just kind of loaded them up and down this edge. And he came here, outside of vision. And he's probably going to pop up like, this is where I would pop up. That's usually where I would pop up. Because this roadway here is kind of scary. But some people will also kind of go into here, and go for position. But that Furong's UAZ is very out in the open, so a lot of the places will be very, very good for it. Now with an attack command here, will he fly overhead again like a fool? He's actually using the fire position command here. Jolly good improvement. Flak Panzer will get the kill on the bomber, however, and the bomber will miss his target. TPZ Fuchs moving in to try and re-establish position here. And, ooh, the Navy SEALs have in fact been found. Like I said, most people go for one of two locations. And this is actually a recon vehicle here. So it's going to be very difficult for him to escape with these Navy SEAls. And the Furong's UAZ is like, oh god. This position is so terrible right now in relation to where he is. And so he's going to pluck it into the town, which is a good choice. Overall, the best possible place he can put it. And we might see the great overreaction happen now. And here comes the KHSMI-24P. Also known as the great overreaction. Now, picking out helicopters to hunt down recon is a good choice. I usually go with a 35-point helicopter to do it. Just because you don't really need a powerful helicopter for this. And so he's just going to fly it overhead. And maybe the Navy SEALs have their guns on. They do not. Nope. I guess he doesn't want to reveal himself preemptively, but this is why you get the helicopter. And he will in fact turn off all his guns, but just not enough to beat this juggernaut of a helicopter. Jager, on the meantime, is going against this Jiangxi 85, and the Jager is going to win this one. But still won't have enough units left in its platoon to actually take on these Jiangxi 85s, and we'll probably have to resupply a lot of these units into where they were before. In the meantime, Blue has finally cleared out what should have been their base all along. This has also been kind of the bulkhead of this position, so they'll be very available to move into better position right now. Because there's a town here they can expose. There is no mere town that they can really expose. Oh god, sneezes are happening. Oh, that sneeze was terrible. I wish that nobody. Yes. So we're seeing things kind of slow down, entering kind of the mid game. The major play was played. We're seeing a little bit of action in the middle here, but yeah, we're not going to see a look on what they haven't planned for a little bit. I don't think. Not until we see some major military mobilizations happening. Now, 2 bombs being dropped here. It's going to kill his own forces as well as the Jagers with this. Why not? And SU-25 is going to rush in and immediately back out without getting any kills. And oh my god! F-16 Block 52 gets a kill again. And surprisingly not a high amount of artillery being used here by our NATO players. Generally, in these kind of stalemates, you just rally an artillery. Just have something to do with your time. But I do love the fact that our NATO players are, in fact, returning their infantry to be healed up. That's always good. It means you have higher, more vetted units. And B5 bomber going to come in here, and B5 is just deadly. It is absolutely deadly. Here we go. Watch this for fun. Goodbye, anti-air infantry. Panzer Grenadiers are able to survive, but barely able to survive. In the meantime, we have an F-11C going to come in for another drop. And he immediately evacs. He didn't quite get a spot what that plane was. I'm guessing he assumed it was something else. He's actually going to bombing randomly this area here. Probably just wants to clear it so he can move his Leopards up. And in fact moving them backwards. Possibly a late reaction. So yeah, Reki was trying to move into this town, but Cav just a little bit too fast on that, realizing there's a little bit of a open area here that could be exploited, and we'll try and move in with some heavy forces. Now looking at the blue vision here, we can see that the Reki's actually covering a nice bit of ground, but mostly they are lacking vision in a lot of places. Looks like the Jiangxis are going to play very aggressive now and actually able to wipe out this group of Panzer Grenadiers, and MiG-23BN is going to try and bomb ahead again. Possibly on these towns. Just to make sure the Jiangxis are safe. Actually going to bomb the Leopard 2. And this Mancati 6x6. Which is what will die here. Yes, it will. So we have a lot more infantry coming in, but they're all going to be Flügelfasts. And this is the time when he needs, infantry. The Flügelfasts will help protect him. They could have been used before, but Let's see what he follows up with. This was a demand for 3 or 4 minutes ago that is no longer useful anymore because they've lost all the towns. Kind of surprised no one's tried to bomb these mortars yet. That's just something that people get sick of very quickly. So we're looking at a stalemated game right now. However, red is moving through the middle and might be able to kill off a decent number of Flugerfasts with this. So here comes the infantry express with some vehicles. Actually, accidentally mortared himself there. That's rather unfortunate. And this top right corner, we're seeing that there's a decent number of infantry revealing themselves. The Lynx tried to do some sneaky business. And choosing not to put a command here at Alpha, which is rather strange, because it's actually going to be worth a lot of points sooner rather than later. And all the Flugerfaust will, in fact, go down! And red is making its way back, now pushing out of the middle with vicious amounts of mortars and lots more infantry coming. Leopard 2s are forced to push back due to the ridiculous amount of mortars. And we got a call here that says, bombing it! Bombing it! So he's going to try and put his Canadian Airborne in a non-suspicious place. He doesn't want to give away the fact that there's an F-11C coming here to kill him. This unit that was used earlier as an anti-recon unit now being used to try and pick off tanks. And here comes the bombs. Will the micro be good? Micro is good. Will he save enough? 13 is a good number. More Canadian Airborne hurt there than Jiangxi. That would be mildly embarrassing. And this flank is starting to cool down, basically. There's no command coming out here, which makes a difference because that's less points, and it means that Redfor currently has a lot more units on the map. And so far, Bluefor's been doing good by trading exceptionally well with those units. But with this helicopter decimating this Leopard 2A4, and this Canadian Airborne getting swallowed up by this Jiangxi, or perhaps the Jiangxi will not survive, things could easily turn on Bluefor. So they definitely got to get a command in this base sooner rather than later, just because, and there it is, the Rover CP. So we're all good. We're all good. Blue will not lose this. They cannot lose this. They won the intro, they have to therefore win. And this SE-25, by the way, super pricey, but oh my god, does it ever pay. And we've seen a lot of things get killed by that SE-25 so far. Here comes another gun run down on that Leopard 2A4 Flugerfaust fire. He did not evac in time. Oh my god. Yes. There is an option you can use in the menu to have your planes automatically retreat as soon as they use their main weapon. So in that case, it was his missiles. Once his missiles were gone, he would have been cleaned out and evac. But in that case, he had that feature turned off and did not quite leave in time. And still a very big lead here by Bluefor. So even though they're pushing, Bluefor still has that massive lead, almost 1,000 points. And if they can keep hitting with these bombers without losing them, they'll be in good shape. But there's a lot of anti-air here, and oh my god, that is the most intense looking crash possible. It flew right in front of us, and it is now no more. No more. And actually, all this town area now has been controlled again by Redfor. And now actually control the roadway into the short reinforcement route for this base. That's a lot of trouble. Prowler flying overhead, trying to pick off some of these radar-guided weapons, but finding mostly infrared weapons, and will in fact die. That is not good. On this flank, I would call this the last hope for Bluefor. They've done a lot of successful pushing in this game. Now they have a good, strong defensive position over here, and have the ability to assault. But a V5 bomber is going to say no and kill off, hopefully, 4 Grizzlies here. And the Grizzlies are on the move. The bomb is dropping, and still cleanly in the middle of the two. He actually moved into a better position to destroy them, as embarrassing as that sounds. And infantry still getting pushed back here. The gap has now been closed to less than 400 points difference. That's a big difference. And like I said, there's no real reinforcement path that's going to be easy here for Bluefor. It's been concealed. It's been closed off. There's too many forces here that can hit things up the bridge. So he's going to have to find a more manual route to take rather than what he's doing. Now another group of Fliegerfasts, or Fliegerfasts I should say, are looking to get wiped out. Leopard 2, poor guy, has no fuel, no weapons. He is completely defenseless as the infantry rush continues. And did he just go AFK, you're wondering? The answer is no, he did not go AFK. And after losing one 2-point base, which was something they should have never controlled in the first place, they might be able to pick up another 2-point base. Now this could be potentially where it all falls apart. Vickers down low on health. F11C going to try and bomb that BMPT. And keep in mind, BMPT is one of the more expensive vehicles in the game. It is reasonable. It is a reasonable price, and only gets 2 health points off of it. Back to the middle, where all basically the action's happening. There's a little bit of smoking that's been happening here, just to kind of protect some units from damage. HQ7 is going to try and kill off these double CH-135 helicopters here, and Xerxes is going to pull them back. And as he pulls them back, infantry are going to continue moving forward through these wooded areas until they find the dreaded Furung's group. Now as they've been moving up, there has been a shower of mortars, which has lowered morale of the unit and allowed for these Zanduis, 90s, to move up very effectively and kill things very quickly, which is rare as far as play goes. And now both reinforcement paths are going to be opened up for Redfor, something they haven't had in the middle for quite some time. And we can see some cross-sectional play here. In the meantime, Blue is struggling quite a bit. Has not actually been able to make a move up here at all. Been focusing all the resources elsewhere. And really hasn't had a lot of success on this eastern flank either. Other than, of course, Alpha. That was huge. Regaining that was huge. But they're now in a position where they need to wipe out one of these reinforcement points, I would think. 200 points, by the way, for the catch-up here for Redfor. These Luzanduis are, I guess, going to stick to their position. He might consider getting a recon infantry up here, which is what could be in this WZ-551. Just to kind of spot, like this Roland. That's an easy thing to picture. The Abrams, very easy thing to picture. This Martyr 1, they should actually know that's there. Yeah, they in fact do actually know that's there. So they could have mortared that pretty easily. A Rover Wombat coming in here. Rover Wombats are exceptionally cheap, and going to try and use those to knife down the BMPTs while rushing in with the Grizzlies, with Lynx AH7 giving a stun. So you're getting a lot of mixed elements here. The BMPT, oh my god, completely out of ammunition. So it looks like he's had a little bit of problems. Canadian rifles will continue moving in though, and this looks like it'll be an exceptionally easy kill for them. There's also Prizik Iglas here, and a Revetko squad, something all of which they can easily kill. Wolverine to try and come into this cover position to try and wipe out these units. And an Mi-24V being rallied out here. This is your anti-helicopter with mild anti-infantry support. It looks like it'll take a decent number of points out of these Canadian rifles. Probably not the high amount that they want, of course. Almost half their points gone, though, so far. And we'll have one more volley. Choosing not to do it, we'll push that unit back, and the infantry will probably take that position. In fact, single Spiz BMP2 and trying to hold the ground. The Vickers getting very, very close. Will duel off and win. And there is a URAL here that they can kill for extra points, which they will. And now it's just a Revedka and an anti-air unit, the infrared. Back to the middle battle. The battle for the middle. We're getting calls for artillery and bombings here, and this is really common. I see this all the time. Instead of bringing in recon to do the spotting, they'll bring in artillery and bombers to just clear the way so they can move up. And we know that he can move this unit up and be very effective with it, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that, and he currently has no real method of doing that because he doesn't have he You could really use a recon infantry or a recon helicopter. The ZTZ-60A2-1, fair enough. But the optics are only good, not exceptional. Exceptional is what you want. So he's going for the big move up. He's going to bring basically 3 squads of these Luzaos and a little bit of mortar support. Like I said, does a little bit of morale damage. And they only have to crash around the unit to cause that morale damage. And actually able to get the Roland as well. And now they'll rush through, but a little bit late here, because here comes an LVTP-7AI, which is going to be carrying units that can deflect this, as well as vehicles themselves can. This is the U.S. Marines. These are the cream of the crop, other than Eurocorps, of course. Yeah, this is going to be exceptionally hard to siege as well. Luckily for him, there's only one group of Prizik Iglas here right now, with another 2 coming. So, as far as anti-air options go, there's not too much there. They can actually bomb this and get rid of it. The downside is that, look, there's MiG-23 ML here, so close to their air route. Any bomber that comes here will probably get shot down by air superiority. So they can probably siege it. They probably can't just get cost-effective points for it. The game is getting exceptionally close now. Redfor having pushed back to within 110 of the win. And Leopard C2 Mexus trying to do a little bit of support. The LVTP, of course, is the baller vehicle, able to do a lot of damage to that Lu Xindao before dying himself. And now it's just the U.S. Marine and the Mexus holding it off against legions of Chinese. And now with the mortars coming, this is going to get very brutal. And note the mortar position, he's not firing directly on top, just a little bit behind is he aimed for this. Because the big thing here is causing that morale damage. Yes, he wants to destroy units, but with their morale shattered, they will be less effective in battle by a large margin. He's actually willing to sacrifice these Lu Zidaos to actually do the damage here. And different style mortar here from our Bluefor players. One giant volley to do morale damage on all these vehicles, as our M1 Abrams come in here to try and clean up shop. And yes, Navy SEALs are coming. They have frag, so they'll be able to clean this up very, very quickly. The U.S. Marines can probably back off and try and save those U.S. Marines, because they're Marines. No Marine left behind. And no, they'll stay right in the battle, actually, while Abrams trying to push back. This is getting a bit scary. A little bit. Could go either way right now. And on the top here, see here your actually was able to kill off quite a bit and baited off a couple of shots from this Tunguska. So all around mission accomplished. Bush Rangers coming in here with some Rover Wombats. Bush Rangers are super, super duper good. And with the Wombats coming in here, dear God, I don't know if this weird mixture of units is not going to work. Yeah, there is a way for the Rover Wombat to kill the T-72As, but I don't think he has the right flanking maneuvers here. Like yeah, it's basically bouncing off. Like actually, one more shot might kill both of them if he's lucky. So that was a pretty unlucky shot. And another unlucky shot. And yeah, that's kind of what I expect to happen. The fact that he got him down to like 1 hit point each is kind of problematic. And he's going to rally in another group of units. Kay, what are you doing here? So you got the Iltis Toe, and immediately dead. Here's what I love right now with Redfor's play. They have a MiG-23 ML out, hoping that planes will come in. Here comes a plane. Because they want to be able to swoop anything that comes from this here. Now, his Prowler, on the other hand, is going to try and remove as many anti-air radar-guided systems from the middle as possible. Thing is, there aren't that many, so he'll be going against mostly infrareds, and will get shot down instantly. So we're now looking at Redfor actually with a 500-point lead now. Bluefor kind of suffering, needs to make a big move, and since this is destruction, the big move has to include a lot of units. It can't just be a helicopter all in or a tank all in. It's going to have to be a combined arms approach, because the coverage of combined arms by our Bluefor players is actually really good right now. Or I'm sorry, Redfor players, not our Blue. Our Bluefor players have nothing. Our Redfor players have a huge variety of units. They have helicopters, they have tanks, they have anti-air systems, they have infantry, they have, I would say, the total package. God, if only Bluefor had a Smirch, you know, that Russian unit. Oh my God! But they don't. They do not have that. And currently just sacrificing more units to the Bluefor gods is Redfor there. And God, this is such a scary position, because this could turn the whole game around. If they were to lose this position, they would now lose this bridge, and every single unit that comes through here could be targeted very easily. So Redfor continues with their mortars, and actually in a very good position to do so. And we're going to see a random rocket artillery won't be too effective against these Purungs. Gupung is to get a very direct hit. But will be good against these tanks. In fact, oh my God, there's so much artillery happening right now. We have crisscross rocket artilleries happening, and picked off one tank. Might be able to get the Jaguar. And this is going to force a push-up, so you can't play defensively against a guy who is abusing artillery against you. And this might be the end of this Leopard 2A4. Pulls back just as the T-72S fires a rocket. Oh, down to just 60% health left. In our top right corner here, we can see that Red is slowly trying to spread his forces out across the long flank. And this is kind of scary for this one guy, because he has to worry about this flank, which has nothing, this flank, which has nothing, and this flank that has something, but nothing will be sufficient. Honestly, if Bluefor were to perhaps abandon a large part of the map, like this side, and maybe lessen the number of units coming in this way, and just go for a last minute push into Charlie, from Charlie into Delta, and a two-pronged approach coming into here, they'd be much better off. Much better off. But I think what they're going to try and do here is a last minute tank push here from K, which will fail, while trying to go into here, and maybe a little bit of air support, and that's why he's got the Sea Harrier coming out, trying to clear out anti-air units. And from there, they'll probably all tap out and leave, unless somebody else can create another plan sooner rather than later. But so far those plans are not looking too good. Sacrificing Daps to the Redfor gods. He is. Patriot actually going down. That is a huge deal, actually. Patriots are one of these units that can most easily out-micro seaplanes. So for him to lose that expensive unit, it is going to be very difficult. This block has actually been a psycho killer this game. Has killed a lot of planes. But having said that, a lot of planes keep coming back. And with control of this middle here, now see, if Redfor had Patriots, he'd just place them right here. Boom. Cover such a huge map area. Bluefor should have had Patriots out much earlier when they had control top. But they also should have had anti-tank, anti-helicopter, and anti-infantry in place to kind of deflect all that attention. Tunguska getting mortar down here. It'll be very slow, very tedious, very trickling. And looks like a collage of tanks and infantry are on the move. Now in this first little vanguard, there's only a T-72A here. It has cover. The only recon is the Recce. Highlander will be moving along a very distinct flank. And the T-72A will eventually have to move up and engage this with the BMPT. As he needs getting closer. Closer. Will he fire? No acquired targets. So this T-72A might actually be able to get a really massive flank if he times this right, waits it out. Alternatively, he might get wiped out by these Royal Marines. We'll have to go see what happens. And speaking of which, on this bottom, it looks like they've actually used a Foo BMP2 to actually try and neutralize this point. Very smart of them, of course, because this is a 2-point base, and that will slow down their income considerably. Everyone loves income. And the Royal Marines will in fact find the BMPs and the T-72As. And, whoa! Instantly killed by the BMPTs. That is never good, but the BMPT does go down. So these Leopard C2 Mexis, they're going to do a flanking maneuver here. Might be a little bit too fancy for what he's trying to do here, though, because the T-72A, very cheap, will get just almost one kill. Oh my god. MiG-23 ML going to try and gun run, probably? Yeah, he's going for the gun run, because there's no real anti-air solutions here, which is why you need that big combined arms approach. Too many options available for the enemy to deflect this easily. B-5 bomber will go ahead and try and go for the big target here. But will he get the Mexis kill? He will, actually. And the other surviving Mexis has about 40% hit points left. And this DAP, which of course has close power, might be able to kill it if he can get a spot on it. Getting a spot on it is half the battle. And he does! He does, in fact. The DAP, super low flying right now, gets the kill. So that brings us to 6,290 points for our Redfor players and 5,325 points for our Bluefor players. Meaning our Redfor players have almost certainly won. That was kind of the last planned thing that Bluefor had. Their last planned thing was to do a rush. There's really nothing of particular value coming out here for Bluefor. It's a lot of artillery. And artillery is something that's best when the enemy is screwing up. But actually, the artillery is getting killed by rockets right now, so I really don't foresee a positive future for Bluefor right now. Redfor, on the other hand, is actually still even moving up. Brought in a Machuten, but something has spotted him. Looks like it was artillery blasts. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's our game for today. So just give a. So I'm pretty sure this is over. Give an idea of what happened here. Redfor did an insanely potent push, very very good. Split the middle in half, the sides in half, pushed into a 2-point base. That's very hard to recover from. You're spending an entire game with 2 points for 3 seconds left in the enemy, or 1.5 points per second. Did the math? Math is wrong. Okay, whatever. It's like 0.66 or something. Anyway, yeah. But then, of course, Bluefor were capable of pushing back that territory. But then Redfor were capable of pushing it another base, and we're seeing what I call like the last minute hurrahs. Like if you're on the winning team, you're gonna throw out a lot of planes there because you want to maximize the number of points that you got your team, because that matters. And if you're Bluefor, you're gonna have like everything on reserve waiting for that to happen. Kind of a weird situation, really. And but nobody wants to risk too big. People risk a plane because they're like, well, you know, it's not a big deal, it's just a plane. And then it happens, of course, and they can stockpile up and get kind of bad. But that doesn't look like it's the case here. Redfor now have an 1,100 point lead and growing, as all that's actually left in this base is the Furons group. And if it gets spotted, it will easily be taken out. Now, neither team really had a chance to get the maximum score, and I don't believe with the settings of the game that was ever possible, nor was that ever the intent. It looks like this is an attempt at getting a full game. By the way, Blue completely having to resign from the middle, meaning that there's going to be a lot of avenues for attack here from Redfor. A lot of them have already been prepared for. For example, Shema is covering this bridge, come this way. There's Leopard 2 is coming this way to prepare for this bridge. And the only one that's really not that prepared is actually this one here. But there is the LTS TOW 2, which will be able to fire very high range, and this Texas Mexus, which won't be too bad either. And that's exactly what he's going for as his target. The Texas Mexus must die. But it doesn't. And we're actually going to see a lot of Smirches out here. Look at this. Smirch, BM27, BM27. Dear Lord. So the player to get them back into this appears to be Iron Duck and Cath, our heroes of the game. Young Gillian, you prove to be a dead weight on your team. All fairly good players. Very exciting game. Ladies and gentlemen, though, my name is Troublemaker. This has been Wargame for this week. Next week will be a new month as well, and we'll be seeing more Wargame then. I'll see you guys then.